This isn't just a coin. It's a key, a copper key, to unlocking hidden wealth you might already own. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to identify the treasure in your change jar, and how to turn a simple penny into a life-changing opportunity. It all began in 1967, a year of cultural revolution, social unrest, and major changes within the United States Mint. The Vietnam War raged on. Music legends like Jimi Hendrix and The Doors defined a generation, and the U.S. government made a bold decision that would accidentally create one of the most valuable modern coins in American history. In an effort to streamline production and reduce errors, the Mint decided to remove mint marks from all coins produced in 1965, 1966, and 1967. This meant that every Lincoln cent minted during those years would bear no mint mark, regardless of whether it came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. So if all 1967 pennies had no mint mark, why is one of them worth over $400,000 today? That's where the mystery begins. When collectors first started to notice small variations in the 1967 Lincoln pennies, it seemed trivial. But under magnification, something extraordinary was revealed. Some of these coins weren't just ordinary strikes. They were errors, anomalies, miracles of minting. Doubled dies, off-center strikes, deep cameo proofs, and in extremely rare cases, transitional errors from the previous or following year. These were the mistakes that made fortunes. Picture this, a single penny, overlooked for decades, sitting in a coffee can, forgotten in a dresser drawer. Then, one day, a collector spots an unusual shine, a peculiar detail, or a doubling on the date or the words, "In God We Trust." Suddenly, what was once a worthless coin becomes a jackpot worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's put this in perspective. The current record for a 1967 Lincoln cent no mint mark is a staggering $401,000, achieved because of its pristine condition, unique strike, and the historical significance behind its rarity. To most, it's just a penny. To numismatists, coin collectors, it's a once-in-a-lifetime find. Here's the exciting part. Thousands of these pennies are still in circulation or hiding in old jars, piggy banks, and family collections. The next one could literally be sitting in your home right now. But before you rush to empty your coin jar, let's understand what makes this coin so special. The 1967 no mint mark penny was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that gives it that warm reddish tone we all recognize. However, because of minting inconsistencies and the transition away from mint marks, a small number of these coins were struck with exceptional precision on highly polished dies, creating proof-like or even mirror-like surfaces. These coins are worth thousands. Then there are the error coins, those with doubled dies, off-center strikes, or planche flaws. For example, a 1967 penny with doubling on Liberty or In God We Trust can sell for anywhere from $1,000 to $10,000 depending on condition. But the rarest of all, those perfect uncirculated specimens with near-flawless surfaces, can fetch hundreds of thousands, as we've seen in recent auctions. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. The 1967 coins marked a turning point in American minting. Because the mint temporarily stopped marking where coins were produced, it blurred the lines of origin and increased the difficulty of identifying rare variants. This confusion, combined with the rise of modern coin collecting, created an intense surge of interest decades later when collectors began rediscovering these mysterious no-mint mark pennies. Now, you might be wondering, how do you know if your penny could be worth a fortune? The first step is to inspect the date, 1967, and confirm there's no mint mark under the date. That's your starting point. Next, look for any doubling on the letters or numbers. Examine the rim for signs of an off-center strike or unusual thickness. Finally, check the luster and condition. Coins with sharp details and minimal wear are worth far more than those that have seen decades of circulation. And here's a quick tip. If your coin appears unusually shiny or proof-like, it could have come from a special mint set. These coins were struck with extra care and are highly desirable, especially when preserved in original packaging. Now, let's talk numbers, because numbers don't lie. In recent auctions, Uncirculated 1967, pennies graded MS-67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, have sold for between $7,000 and $15,000. Proof-like examples have reached upwards of $20,000, and the crown jewel, the highest graded 1967 Lincoln penny known, sold for $401,000. That's 1 cent turned into more than the average American home. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you walked past a penny on the sidewalk and ignored it? How many coins have you tossed into a jar without a second thought? Every one of those could be a potential gold mine. It's funny when you think about it. People spend years chasing side hustles, risky investments, or get-rich-quick schemes. Meanwhile, some of the rarest treasures in America are literally hiding in plain sight, jingling around in change drawers and glove compartments. You don't need to dig for gold when the treasure might already be in your pocket. But here's the catch. Time is running out. As awareness grows and collectors sweep through old coin rolls, these rare specimens are becoming harder to find. Each passing year, the chances of discovering an untouched 1967 gem-grade penny shrink dramatically. If there was ever a moment to act, to search your collection, to take that jar of coins to a local appraiser or send them for professional grading, this is it. Because when it comes to rare coins, the difference between a $1 find and a six-figure fortune often comes down to timing and attention, and don't underestimate the emotional power of this discovery. There's something almost poetic about turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. A simple penny that once bought bubblegum in 1967 could now buy a luxury car, pay off debt, or even fund a retirement. For many collectors, that's not just profit. It's history, legacy, and luck intertwined. Let's pause for a second. If you had a coin worth $400,000 sitting in your kitchen drawer right now, what would you do with it? Would you sell it, frame it, or keep it as a family heirloom? That's a good problem to have, and one that's more possible than you might think. Now, there's a reason the Lincoln penny continues to captivate collectors. Beyond its monetary value, it represents a story of resilience and progress. Abraham Lincoln himself symbolizes hard work, transformation, and the power of small beginnings, just like the coin that bears his face. It's almost poetic justice that one of the smallest denominations in U.S. currency holds some of the greatest hidden wealth. And here's the part that really hits home. Many of the people who've discovered these rare coins weren't professional collectors. They were everyday Americans, teachers, retirees, parents, who simply took the time to look closer. That's the beauty of this world of numismatics. It's not just about coins, it's about curiosity, patience, and the belief that small things can hold massive value. But let's be real. The internet is flooded with misinformation and exaggerated claims about rare coins. So here's a crucial truth. Not every 1967 penny is worth a fortune. Only those in top condition with verified errors or proof-like qualities hold that sky-high value. That's why getting your coin graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC is essential. It separates wishful thinking from life-changing reality. Now, imagine this. You send in your old coin not expecting much, and a few weeks later you get a call. The grader confirms it's an ultra-rare variety worth tens of thousands. It happens more often than you'd think. And yes, it still happens today. The clock is ticking. Every day coins are lost, melted, or damaged beyond recognition. Each one gone forever. That's why the urgency to act now can't be overstated. The rare coin market is thriving, and collectors are paying top dollar for premium examples. You could be one discovery away from transforming your financial future. And let's not forget the emotional rush, the excitement of finding something no one else noticed, the thrill of uncovering history, and the pride of owning a piece of Americana that tells a story of its own. That's not just a transaction. That's an experience money can't buy. So, where do you start? Begin at home. Check every coin jar, drawer, and box of old change. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look for that magic year, 1967. Examine each penny for unusual details, shine, or doubling. If it looks special, protect it. Don't clean it. Don't polish it. Just keep it safe and get it professionally examined. Because here's the truth. The next $401,000 penny isn't buried in some collector's vault. It's out there, waiting for someone like you to find it. And when you do, remember this moment. Remember that you heard the story, took action, and uncovered a treasure hiding in plain sight. That's how wealth begins. Not with luck, but with awareness. Before you move on to the next video, ask yourself this. How many pennies have you overlooked in your lifetime? How many moments of opportunity have slipped through your fingers simply because they didn't look valuable at first glance? Maybe it's time to start seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just a coin. It's a reminder that wealth often hides in plain sight, that history rewards curiosity, and that even the smallest things can lead to the biggest transformations. So check your change, search your stash, because your fortune might already be waiting, quietly, patiently, in the palm of your hand. This is the story of the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny. A tiny piece of copper that's turned the coin-collecting world upside down, leaving experts stunned and collectors scrambling. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and, most importantly, why it could be hiding right under your nose. In your change jar, your childhood collection, or that dusty box in your attic. But before you even think about digging through your old coins, you need to know the truth. Because not all 1971 pennies are created equal, and one simple mistake could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and one worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn could literally be worth more than gold. Let's go back to 1971. Nixon was in the White House. Gas was 35 cents a gallon, and the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents. At the San Francisco Mint, coins stamped with the S-Mint mark rolled off the presses in the millions. On the surface, they all looked identical. Lincoln's profile, the words, "In God We Trust," the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Ordinary, but here's the twist. Hidden among those millions of coins were a few extraordinary mistakes. Coins that defied the precision of the Mint's machinery and became something else entirely. Double-die obverse pennies. When a die, the metal stamp that strikes the coin, gets slightly misaligned during creation, it produces a doubling effect. The letters, numbers, even Lincoln's portrait can appear doubled. To the untrained eye, it's subtle. But to collectors, it's like striking oil, and that's exactly what happened in 1971. The S-Mint in San Francisco produced a small number of Lincoln cents, with a dramatic doubling on the obverse, the front of the coin. Look closely and you'll see it. The letters Liberty seem to have a shadow. The date 1971 has a ghost-like second image. Even Lincoln's face appears to shimmer with duplication. Here's where it gets exciting and a little terrifying. Most people who found these coins back then didn't even realize what they had. They spent them, tossed them in vending machines, used them to buy candy for their kids. Imagine unknowingly trading away a coin worth hundreds of thousands for a pack of gum. Fast forward to today. That same 1971 double-die penny, authenticated by the Professional Coin Grading Service, can sell for over $397,000. Yes, $397,000. And the kicker? There may still be more of them out there, quietly hiding in circulation. Pause for a second. Check your heartbeat. Because this is where the story gets real. Think about it. How many jars of old pennies are sitting in homes across America? How many boxes of coins passed down from parents or grandparents? The truth is, some of those could contain this rare error coin, waiting for someone like you to discover it. It's not just about luck, it's about awareness. Because awareness is what separates the person who spends a fortune by accident from the one who cashes in big. So how can you tell if you have the million-dollar penny? The key is in the details. Grab a magnifying glass. Look at the word liberty. Look at "In God We Trust." Examine the date, 1971. You're searching for that doubling, an unmistakable sign that the coin was struck twice by a misaligned die. If you see it, your pulse will quicken. That's the sign of something extraordinary. Of course, there's a catch. Counterfeits exist, a lot of them. People have tried to fake this doubling effect using pressure, engraving, even laser etching. But real experts know the difference. That's why authentication matters. Only certified grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm the coin's authenticity. And once they do, the value skyrockets. Imagine that moment. You send off your coin, nervous but hopeful. Weeks later, a package returns. Inside is a plastic-encased penny with a tiny label, 1971 S doubled die obverse, MS65 red. You check the auction results and see that one in the exact same grade sold for nearly $400,000. That's not a dream. That's what happened to collectors who trusted their instincts. And that's why this story has everyone talking. But let's pause for a moment because maybe you're thinking, come on, who really finds a coin like that? Well, here's the funny thing. Almost every record-breaking coin find begins with someone who thought exactly the same. Ordinary people rummaging through old jars, inheritance boxes, or flea market bins. The lucky ones recognize the clues. The rest let the fortune slip away unnoticed. And that's the emotional punch here. You could be sitting on a treasure without even realizing it. There's a deeper message, too. These coins remind us that hidden value doesn't always shine at first glance. Sometimes it's disguised as something ordinary. And that's not just true of pennies. It's true of life, of people, of opportunities. The overlooked can often hold the most potential, but let's bring it back to numbers, because that's where things get really interesting. In the coin collecting world, known as numismatics, rarity and condition rule everything. The fewer examples known and the better the condition, the higher the value. For the 1971 S doubled die penny, experts believe only a handful exist in pristine, uncirculated condition. Some estimates suggest fewer than 2 dozen. That scarcity is what drives the price into the hundreds of thousands. In fact, one collector's auction in recent years saw fierce bidding wars over this exact coin, pushing the final sale near the $400,000 mark. That's more than the average price of a home in many parts of the United States. Now take a deep breath, because we're only halfway through this rabbit hole. There's more to the story than just one coin. The 1971 S penny is part of a legacy of minting errors that have captivated collectors for decades. Think of the 1955 doubled die penny, the 1969 S, or the 1995. Each one a piece of history, a minting fluke turned millionaire maker. But among them, the 1971 S stands out for its rarity and beauty. The doubling is strong, dramatic, and clear, a true collector's dream. So what does this mean for you? It means the opportunity still exists. You don't have to be a numismatist or a Wall Street investor. You just need curiosity, patience, and the courage to look closer. Here's the part where I challenge you. Tonight, open that drawer of loose change. Pull out those old coin rolls. Go through the pennies one by one. Because while others sleep on the dream of wealth, the smart ones act. The world's most valuable finds don't come to those who wait. They come to those who look. And if you're feeling skeptical, that's okay. Let me ask you a question. What's the worst that can happen? You lose an hour sorting through old coins? Or you discover a piece of American history worth nearly $500,000? That's not a bad trade-off, is it? Let's lighten it up for a second. Imagine calling your boss tomorrow and saying, I won't be coming in. I just found a 1971 S penny worth $397,000. That would be the shortest resignation letter in history. Humor aside, the excitement is real. Because every year new discoveries pop up. Coins thought to be extinct suddenly appear, shaking the market. And each time, values surge. Collectors are hungry. Auction houses are waiting. Wealth seekers are scanning eBay listings, estate sales, even thrift shops. The race is on. And the people who win are the ones who take action. The truth is, this isn't just about a coin, it's about mindset. The mindset of curiosity, the mindset of wealth, the mindset of seeing opportunity where others see nothing. That's how fortunes are made, not only in coins, but in life. So ask yourself, how many opportunities have you walked past simply because they didn't look like they were worth your time? Maybe it's time to look again. Because just like that 1971 S penny, hidden potential doesn't advertise itself. It waits quietly until someone with vision sees it for what it truly is. And here's your cliffhanger. Somewhere out there, maybe even in your home, a small copper coin could be sitting unnoticed. 1 cent that could rewrite your financial story. What will you do next? Will you let the moment pass? Or will you take this spark of knowledge and turn it into action? Before you go, let's talk about what to do if you actually find one. First, don't clean it. ever. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value instantly. Keep it in a soft holder or flip. Then contact a professional grading service, PCGS, NGC, or ANAX. Get it verified. Once authenticated, that's your golden ticket. After that, explore auction options. Major houses like Heritage Auctions and Stax Bowers handle rare coins all the time. They'll connect you with collectors ready to pay top dollar. And who knows, your discovery could be the next headline in the numismatic world. Think about it. A penny minted over 50 years ago, still capable of transforming lives today. It's not just currency. It's a reminder of how small moments can hold immense value. So when you finish this video, don't just move on to the next thing. Take a moment. Look closer. Search your coins, because that small, forgotten penny might be the beginning of something extraordinary, the kind of story you tell for the rest of your life, and maybe, just maybe, the start of your wealthy future. Because in the world of rare coins, fortune doesn't always come in bars of gold. Sometimes it comes in copper, 1 cent at a time. It's easy to dismiss pocket change as spare metal, but here's the shocking truth. Some of those coins could quietly be worth more than your car, your house, or your entire savings account. The real question is, could one be sitting in your drawer right now? The story of the 1973 D Lincoln cent isn't just about copper and mint marks. It's a story of discovery, luck, and the unstoppable power of knowledge. Because when you know what to look for, an everyday coin can become a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Let's begin where every great discovery starts, with curiosity. Back in 1973, the Denver Mint struck over 4 billion Lincoln pennies. Most were worth exactly 1 cent, but a few, just a handful, emerged with tiny, almost invisible differences. These errors and variations became hidden gems in the world of coin collecting, and while most people spent theirs on gumballs and coffee, a few lucky individuals held on to theirs without realizing what they possessed. One day, a collector stumbled upon a 1973 D penny that looked, at first glance, completely ordinary. But under a magnifying glass, something magical appeared. The D mint mark was slightly off-center. The strike was sharper. The color richer. It weighed a fraction more than expected. And in the world of numismatics, those little details can change everything. When that penny was evaluated by experts, it wasn't just a curiosity, it was a revelation. Its rarity, pristine condition, and unique die characteristics pushed it into the upper echelons of value. Fast forward to today, and that same class of coins, 1973 D Lincoln cents in gem mint state, can fetch jaw-dropping prices, with some reported near the $392,000 mark in private sales and collector circles. Here's the question that keeps collectors awake at night. Why would anyone pay that much for a penny? Because value in the coin world isn't just about metal, it's about history, scarcity, and story. Every mark, every minting error, tells a tale about America's industrial precision, its craftsmanship, and sometimes, its mistakes. And in the world of collectibles, mistakes can be worth millions. Think about it. You might have a small jar filled with coins in your kitchen right now. What if one of them, just one, held the key to a life-changing sum of money? Isn't it worth looking? But before you start dumping out your piggy bank, let's go deeper. The 1973 D Lincoln cent was struck primarily from copper, 95% copper to be exact. It's heavier than the pennies minted after 1982, when the U.S. Mint switched to zinc. That difference alone makes older pennies more desirable to collectors. But weight isn't everything. The secret lies in the details, the luster of the coin, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, the alignment of the D mint mark, and the clarity of the date. Some of the most valuable specimens feature doubled dies, where the design was accidentally struck twice, creating a ghost-like duplication in the lettering. Others show off-planche errors, missing layers, or unusual striking pressure. To the untrained eye, these flaws seem meaningless. To an expert, they scream rarity. And here's where the fear sets in, the fear of missing out. How many of us have already spent a small fortune in pennies without knowing their worth? How many treasures have slipped through our fingers because we didn't take the time to look closer? Collectors know this fear well. They call it the one that got away. Maybe you once saw an odd-looking coin and brushed it off. Maybe you rolled it into a bank deposit. But those who take the time to learn, to inspect, to study, they're the ones who uncover the fortunes hiding in plain sight. Now, before you rush to eBay, take a deep breath. Not every 1973 D penny will make you rich. In fact, most are still worth only 1 cent. But condition is king. If your coin has never been circulated, if it still glows with that red copper brilliance, it could easily be worth hundreds or even thousands. The highest recorded sale prices are reserved for coins graded MS67 or higher, meaning they're virtually flawless under magnification. Here's something to keep in mind. Every year, fewer and fewer of these high-grade coins remain. Time, handling, and oxidation eat away at their value. So, if you have an old coin collection passed down through your family, now might be the perfect time to take a second look. And don't just rely on your eyes, use tools. A simple magnifying glass, a coin scale, and a little patience can be the difference between tossing away a fortune or cashing in on one. Let's inject a bit of humor here, because searching for valuable pennies can feel like treasure hunting in slow motion. You won't find a metal detector in the sand, but you might find yourself squinting at Lincoln's face for hours, muttering, "Come on, just one double die." It's oddly addictive. Once you start, it's hard to stop. But that's the beauty of it. It's not just about money. It's about the thrill of discovery, the chase, and the stories these coins tell. Each one is a tiny time capsule from America's past. Now here's the part that should make your pulse quicken. Experts predict that as coin collecting surges again, especially among millennials and retirees, the demand for high-grade Lincoln cents will explode. Prices are already climbing, and the market for rare U.S. coins has never been hotter. In the past decade, some coins have increased in value by over 500%. Imagine being one of the few who recognized the trend before everyone else caught on. You might be thinking, well, I'm not a collector, but you don't have to be. You just need awareness. You need to know what to look for. Because right now, ordinary Americans, people just like you, are turning forgotten jars of pennies into 5- and 6-figure windfalls. And here's the best part. This isn't a lottery ticket. It's a skill. Once you know how to spot valuable coins, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Every penny becomes a possibility. Now let's raise the stakes a bit higher. Imagine walking into a coin shop, sliding a 1973 D penny across the counter and watching the expert's expression change. His eyebrows lift. His tone shifts. He leans in, pulls out a jeweler's loop, and whispers, "Where did you get this?" That moment, the realization that something you've owned for decades could change your financial future, is priceless. But don't let this just be another story you hear online. Let it be a wake-up call. Because while you're watching this video, someone else is out there scouring their coins, checking dates, and cashing in. Time is not your friend in this market. The best coins get bought, graded, and locked away in private collections. Once they're gone, they're gone. The window to find one in the wild is closing fast. Here's the irony. People chase cryptocurrencies, stocks, and digital assets, yet some of the greatest opportunities still sit in our own homes. In dusty boxes and forgotten coffee cans. Coins like the 1973 D penny prove that wealth doesn't always come from Wall Street. Sometimes it jingles quietly in your pocket. So how do you start? Begin by checking your 1970s pennies. Look for the D mint mark just below the date. Examine the surface for doubling, sharp edges, and deep color. If it's uncirculated, meaning no scratches or wear, set it aside. Next, weigh it. A genuine copper penny should come in around 3.11 grams. If it's significantly different, you may have a striking error on your hands. Once you've identified a potential gem, don't clean it. Ever. Cleaning can destroy a coin's value faster than you can say numismatics. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and store it in a soft holder. Then reach out to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can multiply your coin's value overnight. And when your coin returns with that high mint state label, you'll understand why collectors call these pieces modern treasures. The market recognizes rarity, and the 1973 D Lincoln cent is quickly becoming a legend among them. But before we wrap up, let's talk about the deeper meaning behind this coin craze. Because beneath the excitement, there's a simple truth. Value is everywhere. We just have to learn to see it. The same patience, attention, and curiosity that helps you spot a rare penny can also transform how you approach wealth, opportunity, and life itself. Think about it. Every person who ever found a valuable coin started from the same place as you, just someone curious enough to look closer. They weren't experts. They were ordinary people who refused to overlook the small things. And maybe that's the greatest lesson the 1973 D penny has to teach us. Fortune favors the observant. So tonight, when you get home, grab that jar of coins. Dump it out. Spread them across the table. Because somewhere in that pile of copper could be a coin that changes everything. And if you do find that 1973 D Lincoln cent worth hundreds of thousands, remember this moment, the moment you decided to pay attention. Before you click away, here's one final thought. Wealth doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. It hides in plain sight. It waits for the person willing to listen. So go ahead, take a second look at your pennies. Your next chapter might just start with 1 cent, because the rare 1973 D Lincoln penny isn't just a coin, it's a reminder that opportunity is everywhere, waiting for those who have the courage and curiosity to find it. So, how did a humble 1976 no mint mark penny become a golden ticket to financial freedom? And how can you tell if your old pennies are secretly worth a fortune? Keep watching, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this coin is so valuable, but you'll also know how to find out if you're sitting on a 6-figure treasure. Let's start at the beginning, the story of a coin that fooled millions. The year was 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial. Flags waved, parades filled the streets, and everyone was buzzing with patriotic pride. The U.S. Mint was working around the clock, producing millions of coins for collectors and everyday use. Quarters, halves, and dollars received special bicentennial designs, but the penny stayed the same. Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile, unchanged. Yet beneath the surface of that ordinary design, something unusual was happening. Most Philadelphia pennies carried no mint mark, as was standard for that mint, but a select few struck that year turned out different. Some were minted on planchets, coin blanks, meant for foreign coins. Others were struck using experimental metal compositions, and a handful had subtle yet critical errors that made them 1 in a million. Collectors began to notice. Some of these 1976 no mint mark Lincoln cents weighed slightly less, shone with a different tone, or bore faint doubling on Lincoln's features. To the untrained eye, these differences seemed minor. But in the world of numismatics, the study of coins, small differences can mean massive value. Here's where things get interesting. You see, when coins are made, thousands of identical strikes roll off the mint presses. But every once in a while, an error occurs. A misalignment, a wrong metal, or a missing detail. These mistakes slip through quality control and end up in circulation, unnoticed. Over time, as collectors hunt and identify these anomalies, their rarity skyrockets. That's exactly what happened with the 1976 no mint mark penny. One particularly rare version was struck on a 95% copper planchet weighing 3.11 grams instead of the more common copper-plated zinc used after 1982. The combination of its perfect condition and historical context has sent collectors into a frenzy. Today, one such coin, authenticated by a top grading service, has been valued at around $385,000. Pause for a moment. Think about that. A single penny worth more than a Lamborghini. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The smallest denomination in American currency becoming a symbol of hidden wealth. It reminds us that fortune often hides in plain sight. Now, before you rush to dig through your coin jar, let's get specific. How can you tell if your 1976 penny is one of these rare treasures? First, check the weight. You'll need a precise digital scale that measures to at least 2 decimal places. If your penny weighs around 3.11 grams, that's your first good sign. It's copper. If it's closer to 2.5 grams, it's a later zinc version, which is usually less valuable. Next, inspect the coin's surface under a magnifying glass or microscope. Look for errors like doubling on Lincoln's face, letters, or date. Even subtle doubling can increase a coin's worth dramatically. Check the rim, too. Weak or uneven rims can suggest an off-center strike or misfeed error, both of which raise value. And don't forget the condition. Coin collectors use a grading scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a flawless mint-state coin. A 1976 penny-graded MS-65 or higher, especially with a rare error, can fetch thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. Here's the kicker. Sometimes, collectors or sellers don't even realize what they have. Every year, dozens of valuable error coins show up in estate sales, flea markets, and old collections sold for pocket change. That's where your opportunity lies. Imagine the thrill of holding a simple penny, realizing it's worth more than your monthly mortgage. That's not a fantasy. It's happened. Just a few years ago, a 1976 no-mint mark penny in exceptional condition sold for over $385,000 after being authenticated and graded. Now, you might be wondering, why would someone pay that much for a penny? The answer lies in the psychology of collecting. Rare coins are tangible pieces of history. They represent a moment frozen in time, a tiny artifact connecting us to our past. For serious collectors and investors, owning one of these rarities isn't just about money. It's about legacy, prestige, and the thrill of owning the unattainable. But here's a sobering truth. Most people never check their coins. They let potential fortunes slip through their fingers every single day. Fear of missing out? You should have it right now, because that penny in your change might be the very one collectors are hunting for. So what should you do if you think you found a valuable coin? Don't clean it, ever. Cleaning can destroy its surface and slash its value by thousands. Instead, handle it carefully by the edges and place it in a soft, protective sleeve or coin holder. Then, have it evaluated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations authenticate, grade, and encapsulate coins, providing an official certification that confirms your penny's worth. Once graded, you can sell it through reputable auction houses or online marketplaces dedicated to rare coins. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, but what are the odds I actually have one? Let me share a quick story. A retired mechanic in Ohio who had collected change for years stumbled across a 1976 no-mint mark penny that looked slightly different. Curious, he had it examined and discovered it was struck on a foreign planchet intended for a coin from the Bahamas. That small difference transformed his ordinary penny into a $40,000 windfall. Another collector found a similar coin with a double die error. His was later graded and sold for over $125,000. The point is, it's not just luck, it's awareness. Those who take the time to learn and look are the ones who find. Now let's take a step back and think about what this means. The 1976 penny isn't just about money. It's a reminder that overlooked opportunities are everywhere. Whether in coins, investments, or daily life, the things we dismiss as small often hold the greatest potential. That's why wealthy people don't just chase big opportunities. They pay attention to the tiny ones. Still skeptical? Consider this. The rare coin market has exploded in the last decade. What used to be a quiet hobby has become a serious investment arena, with millions flowing through auctions every year. Coins like the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die cent, and now the 1976 no mint mark penny have shattered records. And with inflation rising and tangible assets gaining appeal, collectors and investors alike are turning back to rare coins as a hedge against uncertainty. So yes, the market is hot, and the time to act is now. But let's be honest. Most people will watch this video, feel inspired, and then do nothing. They'll go back to their routine, never checking their change, never looking deeper. Meanwhile, someone else, someone who took this message seriously, will make a discovery that changes everything. Which person will you be? Humor me for a moment. Picture yourself 6 months from now. You're sorting through an old jar of coins, not expecting much. Then, you notice a 1976 penny that looks unusually sharp. You weigh it. It's 3.11 grams. Your heart skips. You have it graded, authenticated, and the result comes back. It's one of the rare ones. You sell it for $385,000. What would that do for you? Pay off debt? Retire early? Buy that lake house you've always dreamed of? That's not a fantasy. It's a possibility, and the only barrier between you and that outcome is action. Here's a funny thought. Some people spend their entire lives chasing wealth, working long hours, making sacrifices, and yet the path to fortune could be sitting in a coffee can under their bed. That's irony at its finest. But irony doesn't pay bills. Awareness does. So, after this video, grab a magnifying glass, a scale, and start exploring your pennies. Look especially for those 1976 no mint mark Lincoln cents. Check for weight, shine, and signs of error. Even if you don't find the $385,000 one, you might uncover something worth hundreds or thousands. And remember, this isn't just about coins. It's about mindset. The ability to see value where others see nothing is what separates those who live comfortably from those who live abundantly. If this story of the 1976 no mint mark penny teaches us anything, it's this. Hidden treasures aren't reserved for the lucky. They're waiting for those who pay attention. The next time you get change at the grocery store, take a second look at those pennies. Because maybe, just maybe, that little coin is the beginning of your own financial breakthrough. So stay curious, stay alert, and never underestimate the power of small things to create big change. The world is full of secrets, and some of them are sitting right in your pocket. And who knows? The next rare 1976 no mint mark penny worth $385,000 might just be waiting for you to discover it. Because sometimes, a single penny can make you rich, not just in money, but in the realization that wealth hides in the most unexpected places. Keep your eyes open. Your fortune might already be in your hands.